Hey there, commercial construction coffee talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. Oh, there it is. Julie from Florim Decor. They just renovated an old Ingles up the street. My wife's loving that place. Reuse, all that good stuff. Always cars in the parking lot. Way to go, Julie. Thanks for opening up that store up on Highway 20 and coming. Anyway, the magazine used to look so good before we went digital. But I don't miss it. Just had 29 million people hit our site last year. And hopefully in 2023, we'll get to 30 million. Unbelievable. Now, there's a couple bots in there, but not all of them. You know, there's a lot of people consuming content. And, you know, we really thank you out there for hitting the site. Anyway, I hope, you know, it's the beginning of the year. I just finished my first episode, and this is my second one of the year. And I'm glad you're tuning in and finding us on the web. Hope everybody had a great, you know, holiday season, recharge your battery, had fun with your family and friends, you know, ate lots of food, caught some Z's, obviously watched some football and all that stuff. And, you know, now we're kind of coming into the third week in January, and playoff time in the NFL, and you know, all the winter sports are you know, cruising right along. And you know, in the ATL, it was cold for a couple of weeks there in December, but actually it's been, you know, kind of warm. The lake's at full pull at Lake Lanier, where I live, right below the dam here. It's about 1071. I mean, they're gonna have to start letting water out. That's all I got to say, because that lake is full. But it's been raining here all week. I've never seen so much rain, except when we had the drought. I didn't think the lake was going to ever get full again. And during the winter, it rained like every day, and the thing filled right back up. Unbelievable. And but here, we want the lake full all winter, because when the summer comes, they let that water run all downstreams, because we feed South Georgia, Alabama, Florida, all the farmers. And, you know, for those of you who don't know, you know, Atlanta was built on granite, you know, and hard clay, you know, and water just did so that, you know, the Army Corps of Engineers, they flooded the 𝐇𝐎𝐿, which is now Lake Lanier. It's got over 60 miles of coastline. It's like an ocean out there. There's some big boats out there, but it feeds a lot. It helps a lot of people, not only in the ATL, but, you know, downstream. So we like when you know, we'll take the rain during the winter. You know, it is what it is. So we like it. And actually, one of my buds built an LED sign that when you go over the Beaufort Dam, it tells you the depth finder. I laugh every time I see it, because I know he built the sign and put it up there and got it spec'd by the Army Corps of Engineers. But anyway, we like the water. We want the lake full. So, but I hope everybody had a great holiday. Listen, it's just starting in January, but before you know it, boom, it's going to be the holidays again, because time goes really quick when you're having fun. So that's what we're going to have right now. So today, got a nice guest. He's out of Clarksville, Tennessee. His name is Don Haynes, and he's the environmental and sustainability manager for Florim USA. And they're actually a tile manufacturer for commercial and residential. So Don, say hello from Florim up there in Clarksville.
Well, hello from Clarksville. Glad to be here.
Hey, we appreciate you finding the time to be on Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. And, you know, the way we do it, we do it in 3 parts. You know, we want to hear your story, you know, where you grew up, brothers, sisters, if you played any sports, and, you know, how you ended up where you are now up there in Tennessee. And then we'll talk about over the last couple of years, you know, lessons learned, any new products that you have. And then you'll leave our audience with a, you know, a positive thought or phrasing your contact info. So with that said, Don, the floor is yours. Tell us your story.
Well, I was born in El Paso, Texas. Dad was a rocket scientist out at White Sands Missile Range, and we left there when I was young, moved to Tullahoma, Tennessee. I've been a Tennessee boy for all that I can remember, certainly. And grew up as a Boy Scout and in the band, all the classic stuff from the 60s and 70s. I graduated high school as a bicentennial boy in 76. So my history is here.
Yeah, we're about the same. I graduated in 81. So, you know, I did Webelos and all that stuff. So, you know, that it's all changed today. A lot of people don't do that stuff, you know?
Not like they did. Not like they did. I'm still active scouter, and it's certainly, it's different than it was. We have girls now.
Yeah.
It's all different. But it's I think arguably it's better. We just got to get more in it. So send your children.
Yeah. So
Scouts is what pretty much got me into the environmental. I learned to love nature, hiked in nature, lived there. And then when I was like 10 years old, we took a family vacation to Maine, where Dad was from, and drove through Ohio. And the Cuyahoga River was on fire. The surface of the water was burning from pollution. And as a 10-year-old, I saw that, I said, I need to do something about that. And I've been in the environmental field ever since. So it made a real impression on me.
So Cuyahoga, we're talking Cleveland, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
with Randy Newman's famous song, Burn On, Cuyahoga, Burn On. So
yeah, well, my family's been in recycling since 1888 in steel and construction, and they were, doing reuse way back when, before even sustainability was even a word.
well, just economical then.
Oh yeah, and so I'm like, listen, when I grew up, outside of Philly. So at 16, all the grandsons, once you got your driver's license, you had to go into the scrapyard and work and do your gig, and that's just the way it was. But I was always down at the scrapyard playing in the cranes, and but like I said, we were in steel recycling. It was junk. Another man's junk is another man's gold. So,
Absolutely.
I learned it along, at a young age. Listen, I came from a military family, so you sat down, you cleaned your plate, you asked to be, leave. I went to prep school. I'd sit down meals. I had study hall every night, Saturday morning classes, so all that stuff. But all those things I learned when I was growing up. I was the first Weeblo in my pack to get all 15 pins. I have them actually sitting up on my shelf.
Overachiever. Excellent.
Yeah, and my dad was an Eagle Scout. Were you an Eagle Scout? Did you get?
Still, yes, yep, absolutely. My son too.
So I made it through tenderfoot, and then I went to prep school. I said like 7th, 8th grade. I got my Webelos, and then I did my tenderfoot gig, and then I went to prep school, and that was my Boy Scout career. But looking back, everybody did it. I mean, that was the thing. You Cub Scouts, Webelos, Boy Scouts.
And we've certainly fallen out of the idiom as we once were. We were mainline to America in the 60s and 70s, and post Vietnam certainly didn't help. And so we're fighting our way back.
So you're driving through Ohio, you saw the river. So continue your story. So how you ended up where you are today.
Yeah, and so then after that, I carried that passion for the environment. My first thought on a college major was forestry. Ended up in civil engineering, environmental stress, and so I went to Tennessee Tech in Cookeville, Tennessee, and have been at a 35 or so year career as a consultant on environmental compliance, keeping EPA happy for a variety of industries, whiskey through zinc refineries, pick a topic. Had a lot of history there, and got tired of getting on a plane every Sunday and coming home every Thursday night, and so moved to industry. And I feared that I would be bored. I was naive. That this has been stimulating and interesting and different every day. I've really enjoyed. I've been here now for 9 years nearly, and it's been a blast.
Did you know Tile anything about it when you came in, or?
I as a consultant, I permitted this factory in its initial permutation in '91. So I had nothing's the same now. There's a little bit of concrete out in the middle, maybe, but everything else is new. But it's I had some exposure, so it wasn't completely foreign when I came.
Yeah. Tile's an amazing thing, because it's it's the material, it's the craftsmanship, and then all the different textures that you can use it for, and get it spec'd in many vertical and horizontal markets. And depending on how it's made and with the kiln and all that, I've taken tours of several tile plants over my years. That it's a very unique product, and it comes from the earth. I mean, that's what it really is.
Well, the joke here is we make dirt hot.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's basically dirt that's made into a hard material. It's like watered ice, basically. So so you get in a tile, and you've been there for 9 years, and talk about you're in, and then looking back 2.5 years, all of a sudden there's cranes everywhere, the country's humming along. and all of a sudden, boom, everything gets shut down. Talk about, how your company, weathered the storm. Now we're 2.5 years, almost 3 years, coming out of this, and where you are today, and any of those lessons learned that some of our listeners on Commercial Construction Coffee Talk would like to hear.
Well, I think our story is that, in March of 2020, the America shut down pretty hard, but we never missed a day. We continued to produce as people stayed at home. People couldn't leave. They got bored and remodeled their bathroom. Apparently, that we had some of our biggest shipping days ever. Took inventory down to entirely too low of a level. Shipping out tile, we had, but our normal days, call it 70, 80 trucks a day, maybe on a good day. We had 180 days, 180 truck days, right? 180 trucks in and out one day. To some of the biggest days we've ever had, and it was, so we're socially distanced and whatnot here because we have the way the manufacturing process is set up. There's very few people, so we had no problems in the factory. Everybody came every day. It worked well. The biggest trouble we've had is now that as the coming out, everybody's trying to hire. Bodies are hard to come by. And so we've been having that battle for the last year to stay staffed.
Yeah, my wife's an interior designer, contractor, on the residential side. She does some commercial projects here and there. Her business has just boomed. I mean, it's been unbelievable how many basements or bathrooms. She's got 2 remodels going on. She just picked up 2 clients yesterday and did the quotes and landed both those jobs. But it's been unbelievable. The first thing I did, I redid my deck. I had gotten a quote from a guy, and I'm like, I told my son, I go, look, we're going to do the deck. Okay. We're going to run the planks. You and I are going to do it. Okay. We're getting the circulars off. We're going to buy the planks, and we're going to do it, and we're going to stain it. And, and that's when timber was really expensive. So, 2 by 10 by whatever, normally would have been $6, $7, $20,
Right.
Did it like right in March when things shut down. So I went and, got it and got myself a dumpster and did it. But then if I would have done it, 4 or 5 months later, I could have added, another 50 or 60%, on top of that lumber. But you're totally right that, at least on the residential side, people just redid stuff, I mean, they had the time to do it. And, whether they contracted it out or they did it themselves, it was, my wife was so busy. I mean, I never, she would leave and she'd come back at the end of the day. I never saw it like that. Our business has always been pretty good, but not like that. I mean, it was just, I mean, we sold our house October of 21, and we redid our basement, and finding product. I mean, just electrical wire, 214 or 14 2-gauge, gang boxes, just stuff that you think that you could just go and find. They weren't there. I mean, even at the paint store, primer. I'm like, you're a paint store, you got to have primer. No, we don't have any primer. And so these were, and being on, we're on the commercial side on the magazine, and some of these projects, listen, the building owners, they don't care. They want you to get it done. So whether you're short on product or not. And that was the two thing, getting product and having the labor, to install it or build it or renovate it, call it what you want.
And we had similar problem, I guess, looking back at it, now that you say that, back through it, in that we could talk to the mines, and they had clay, sand, or feldspar. To find a truck to get it from them to us was often a challenge, because all the truck drivers went to Amazon and Walmart because they paid better, and it was an air truck. So having some guy come out of a quarry in a semi-trailer dump truck, that was not an appealing job. And so it's finding drivers to bring us raw material was a challenge. Finished goods were okay, but raw material, it was quite the challenge.
Did you think that the residential side was a bigger, I'm thinking residential was a big part of the market share in the commercial, but I'm sure that the commercial gigs, because a lot of our clients, some of their businesses were made essential, so they didn't really stop. And you can't build a hotel, in a week, retail store. So a lot of stores, some of them put their plans on, the restaurant guys, those guys took it on the chin, depending on, where you were and what type of store, restaurant you were. But for the most part, a lot of our guys, they didn't really, miss a beat. Just like you said, I mean, I had 3 construction projects. They were building an old folks home. They were building a new fire station. And they were, what the heck was the other one? Anyway, they were right around here, and I see them all go up, and never missed a beat. Always saw those guys in, with all the protocols that were put in, they had different shifts and stuff, but they were busy, and they got all those projects done. Now, depending on what state you're in, I'm here in Georgia, so we were kind of open, but there were still protocols that you were put in. If you were in, maybe a tighter state, and we all know which ones they were, it might have been a little more challenging, to get things done. But, tile is, something that, you got to be close in, if you've got a couple of people installing it, whether it's putting the grout in or the tile in or the spacers, it's a close setting. So, in that aspect of it, depending on what state you're in, was probably very crucial with your installers,
Right.
get this stuff done. So tell us about I bet you there's probably a lot of people out there, they pick tile, they spec it. Just give us kind of a rundown of how tile is made, because I've seen it in the plant myself. I took the tour of a tile plant that was opened up there in Tennessee a couple years back, but just give us an idea of how tile is made.
Well, probably 95, 97% of the weight of a tile is the body, not the pretty part on top, but the body. And that's sand, clay, and feldspar in general. Feldspar is a sand with a metallic ion attached to it. So it helps flux heat through the body of the tile in the firing process. Sand gives it strength. Clay gives it strength. So it's that blend of those 3 things, plus what we can find in terms of novel raw materials. We spend a lot of effort looking for secondary glass, recycled materials, so that we can have a greener approach, less carbon emission, less raw material mining, take things into the circular economy to make the tile. So there's some percentage, up to 30% of the weight of a tile our tiles can be recycled material. And then there's the beautiful part on top, that's the 1% that comes from Italy, that has sand and clay and colorants in it, that's laid down to put the marble look, the wood look, what the tile may be. And
So
then,
everything comes into the plant. It gets put into like a big mixing bowl.
right, it's milled at the beginning to turn it into very, very fine slurry with water, and then that's dried down to, so it's damp, of a powder, and then that's pressed into the tile at high pressures. And we want that little bit of moisture in there, just like a mud pie, so that when you squeeze it, it'll stay together. Then that's dried, then carried into the line where the beautiful part's applied. Now anymore, that's all done digitally. It's a big inkjet printer that prints onto the tile using slurry, various colorants, not ink, but we call it ink because that's easy. But it's a tile glaze that puts the figure on the tile. Then it's carried to the kilns where it's fired at 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, very hot oven.
Very hot. And then annealed so that there's no stress in the tile. So when you cut it, it cuts cleanly like glass. And so then it's selected and boxed. It's a quick process. I mean, from beginning to end, it's a couple hours. So it's hot. We are energy intensive, and in the modern sustainability world, that's a battle that we fight regularly. How do we minimize our energy demand through efficiency? I think the future will have some interesting things to hold in terms of hydrogen fuel and whatnot, but in the short term, it's efficiency.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, we bought a piece of land up on the lake, and when we sold our house, we bought a little home to live in, and we're going to act as our contractor to build a house. And we put tile in. I just redid my floors downstairs, ripped out the old hardwoods, and we put some really nice laminates in. And up in the washer and dryer room, they had this old vinyl in there. It needed to go. My wife was like, "I'm doing the first thing I'm doing. I'm putting tile in there." So we ripped it out, pulled out the thing, and then, she picked the tile, and we put it in and installed it, and it looks great. I mean, tile, it's like paint. It's amazing. You can just put a little, washer and dryer room. It looks completely different with tile in there than it did with the vinyl. Just
Looks
like,
finished. Looks neat and finished.
yeah.
I do like that. And what you got to remember too about the difference between tile and paint though is the life. That tile will be there as long as you have the house.
Yeah.
It won't need to be replaced.
Yeah, it's not gonna fade.
Right. And so that's one of our the industry-wide sustainability stances is the longevity of the tile, how it's outlasts other similar products, and it's good for the planet, and just from that longevity standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. During, the shutdown and stuff, talking about, refurbishing, paint, tile, carpet, a lot of the facilities, that like hoteliers, their hotel might have been shut down, but they were renovating, they were putting FF&E in, they were putting fresh paint, tile, and, so forth. So when they did open up, at least the smart ones did, that they had their facilities, ready. And, talk about the, I mean, I'm very familiar with it, but, tell us, how your sales process works. Do you get spec'd by the architect? Does he get picked by the, the contractor? If he gets the plans, he has a little more leeway, or is the end user? Talk about, obviously it depends on the, the industry that you're in and what sector you're going after, but talk about that process.
Well, we have a couple of different avenues. Well, a lot of big box work. And though I think our primary thrust now is through distributors. We don't do direct sales. We don't have our own showrooms or anything. So it's through distributors. And then they work with designers and architects and oftentimes end users to generate that kind of selection.
So what separates you from, listen, tiles are very, I walk coverings every year. That's the big tile show that's in the industry, for those of you who don't know. And they always have all the new fresh, colors that, that's the color palette of the year and so forth. Talk about what separates you from, the other tile guys that are out there.
Well, I'm jaded, but I like to think that ours is pretty.
And you don't have, listen, you don't have to be biased, you've been around long enough, so
a little biased.
Yeah.
But the how you design a tile, there's a couple of different philosophies out there, and some are very European, very Eurocentric, and some are for the American market. And I think what we drive for here is for the American market, but with a little Italian flair. So it's a high-end tile, high-end look. It certainly is not always mundane. Oftentimes our tile doesn't disappear to the background. So if you need a tile that does that, we have that sort of stuff, but our higher end stuff is a little more flamboyant. It's not the right word, but it stands out.
It pops. You know, yeah,
Yep.
it's gonna have bling, a little bling bling.
Yeah, and that's our goal. I mean, the two new lines you mentioned coverings. We've got a couple of new lines coming out for coverings that I've seen early release of, and they are going to be unique and interesting tiles to the market.
How many new products do you normally come out with during a year? I mean, do you think
this year is going to be special? We normally do 6, 8, maybe, but this year we're introducing the 48 by 110 inch slabs. We're installing that equipment now. We'll have slabs coming out of here in March.
Nice.
And so that's going to be, so we'll have several lines of that in addition to the normal press tile.
So over your history of Florim, what have been some of the coolest projects that you had your tile go into?
A lot of boutique hotels have been the most interesting installs in New York, that kind of thing, where it's not the mundane tile. It's very flamboyant. It makes a statement. It's been a lot of dramatic entry and foyers. We've done some academic work for universities with big soaring ceilings and done slabs on the walls there with our Italian counterpart for that part. It's been some. I like tile because tile can make a statement and it can take a big space. And so as we go to these larger formats too, especially, I think we're going to start seeing it in more and more big space.
Yeah. You know, the biggest thing right now is, real estate. You know, a lot of people worked at that at home, and now they're trying to get their workforce back into the office, but they've got to do a tightrope because they don't want to tick off their employees because they've proved that they can be productive at home. They don't want to make the drive into work, the wear and tear, the gas prices are going up. And you, as an owner, you want to keep your company culture, but you want to keep your people happy. Maybe you go do a hybrid a couple days a week, and you could always get it offshore, but you want, it's just, so there's all this real estate that's out there that's going to have to get renovated, into
Mhm.
whatever it might be, whether it could be an auto showroom or a theater or whatever. I mean, but there's a lot of open space there because people have definitely downsized or gotten rid of, square footage.
Yep.
That tile would be an amazing thing where you could, take an old dilapidated space and make it look really, really cool, with the right designer,
Right.
involved.
Yeah. And the other thing coming out of our recent times is that people are more aware of and desirous of hygiene, an easily clean surface, a surface that won't harbor germs, surfaces that won't grow mold, etc. And that's been very, and porcelain tile is perfect for that. And that's been a big discussion as of late, is that if you come back with facilities, touch surfaces are porcelain, countertops can be porcelain, no seams, big slabs, so that it's easily cleaned. And that encourages people to come back to the office, in that I know it's a safe place. Are you familiar with like the well health and safety ratings and
Oh yeah.
those? So that porcelain plays into those, and that can help them to give that sense of confidence to come back to the workspace.
Yeah. Uh, tile. It's a very, very, like I said, it's a very versatile product. It comes from the earth, and you can spec it in all sorts of different places. A lot of people think it's tile. Oh, it's just backsplash, or it's just for floor. But
Mhm.
you can put it on fixtures. You can put it on wall. I mean, the sky's the limit. And when
Yep.
it comes to specifications, you just have to have the right interior designer or architect to spec it. And obviously, the installer is very crucial in getting that stuff installed correctly. Um, and the machining of it, listen, the guys probably in your plan have been doing it forever, so it's baking cake every day,
Yep.
and
Yep.
it's consistent.
Yeah,
So
installers, like you say, though, that's we see that as an ongoing challenge to have people in the trades that can lay the new large format tile. You get you people that can lay smaller tile that we come out with. Here's a 48 by 48. What do you do with it? And so that's we see that as an upcoming. We're actually going to start training here this spring and bring in contractors to, this is how to lay large format.
oh yeah, yeah. Listen, my wife, she's got her crew, and she keeps them happy, so they get things done for her. But sometimes she'll have some cool stuff that she'll do, and they'll be like, "Oh, I don't know," and there's like, "No, no, you do it like this, and we'll make it look good." And then once they see how it's done, they're like, "Oh, we should have done that in the other house," or so
We
it's
can learn.
yeah, yeah. Listen, the day you stop learning is the day you should go do something else. That's all I got to say. And if you're not having fun, get you got to go do something else because
Yep.
life's short. So you got to have fun. And listen, make mistakes, nothing wrong either, because you're just going to learn from them, make things better anyway. You're not going to win every game.
No,
So,
that's what I got here.
um, if you were going to leave our audience with one positive thought or phrase, as they, we start the new year in 2023, now that they kind of know, about tile, and it's basically goop, fired, finished, boxed, goes to the distributor, it gets spec'd, gets delivered to the project, installer comes in, boom, boom, done, and then hopefully it'll last for a lifetime, or next person that comes and gets that building is going to rip it out and put more tile in. So, that's what we're all hoping for, but if there was one positive thought or phrase as we, go in, since we're just starting, 2023, what would it be to leave our audience up with commercial construction coffee talk?
Well, I think that porcelain tile fits in well with any renovation, But what we really push for here at Florim is that we feel it's time to take responsibility with all of this talk of climate change. How can porcelain tile, its longevity, support a low carbon building? As people look at embodied carbon in buildings, tile supports that. And so our goal, the future, is to be the greenest flooring option out there. And that's our goal.
Hey, like I said, my family's been in, recycling since 1888. So I totally, I'm a recycler. My wife's like, that doesn't go in there. I'm like, look, it's got the recycle thing on there. I'm going to let those guys, figure out, what the recycling, I don't understand. I used to separate my cardboard, my cans, my glass and all that. And then my county, they decided, they had, the municipality had these two companies. Anyway, they decided on the waste company they were going to use. Now they make you put everything in together. And when I was taking my time, my pride in my recycling, made it easy for them so they can put it in the right part of the truck. Now they just throw it in there, and I guess they separated the thing. I don't understand it. I liked it the way that I did it before, because I made it easy for them, because it was cardboard, I had paper, I had aluminum, I had glass, and now they don't even take glass.
No, they don't. No, they say nobody wants glass. I will take all you can get me.
Yeah.
Every pound. I'm trying to get hold of Nashville's glass right now. We'll take it all.
I mean, she's like, they're not going to use that plastic straw. I said, look, it's plastic. They'll cut it up. It's going to go there. And one of my friends that I grew up with, he started his recycling paper company. He came down here. He started with a truck, and now he's got 3 plants in Atlanta, and he's doing paper, cardboard, and he was a recycler. And so I understand the whole concept behind. I'm a publisher, so I went through a ton of paper, but now I'm digital. So I've cut down on a lot of the paper, but I'm still not paperless. I'm getting there. But it's every little thing that you can help. Like I want clean water. I live like below the lake, so I want the water to be clean. I know I got to have clean air. I mean, everything. So I'm on that environmental side of it. And I'm also on the sustainability side. If you can reuse something for something else, there were that much, but you always want to have new products come out, because, that's the way capitalism and business is made, new stuff, and once something comes out, everybody copies you, especially if you're the first one, and coverings, every year there'll be a different color. Everybody's got that color, some variation of it, and then it's competition, which big box am I going to go to? Which tile am I going to get? Because they both kind of look the same, but one's got a better, building process, or better management team, or pricing, whatever that customer is looking for. But it's a very competitive industry, and customer service side probably is crucial in your business. And but you got to have cool products, and you've got to have good installers, and then your distributors have to come through too, because they're the ones that they're your main sales force. So
it's a team effort, no doubt.
Yeah. So if someone wanted to get in touch with you to talk tile or anything, how would they reach out to you up there in Clarksville?
Well, the most assured way is email. Just D Haynes, DHAYNES at florimusa.com.
Easy enough.
And I answer regularly. So
hey, listen, I answer all my email too. So if anybody wants to get in, now listen, if you want to talk tile, and you want to talk about some cool stuff, and coverings is coming up, I think April, right? Isn't it April?
I'll see you there.
Yeah. So anyway, if you've never seen tile, coverings is a very cool place to go if you want to see anything about tile. Install, cutting machines, tiles, they got it all there. It's the tile show of the world. That's where you want to go if you want to learn about tile. But if you want to talk tile, with Don up in Tennessee, or you have a project that you're working on, you're not sure if it's applicable or not, D Haynes at Florim, give him an email, and he'll come back to you. If anybody wants to reach me, I'm at David C at ccr-mag.com. Listen, we hit 29 million people hit our website last year consuming content. I'm posting every day, putting new stuff up there. Very tough to get in the magazine, but send me something. I answer my emails, all of them too. Maybe not right away, but I definitely we'll come back to you. If I can't find it in the magazine, I've got put on all my social media. I got Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. I mean, we have them all. And we'd love to hear from you. It's like, I know you hate me last year when I always would say it, but it's like playing the lottery. If you don't buy a ticket, it was $1 billion last weekend for the lottery. If you didn't buy a ticket, you weren't going to win. One guy in Maine bought a ticket and he won. Okay, $1.3 billion. Let's see, after taxes, maybe 700 million left. I'll take that. You know, but if you don't send me something, I can't post it, you know, or I can't run it. You know, it could be anything. It could be golf tours, it could be charity, it could be personal announcement, it could be new products, it could be a post-show release. We look at everything. Send it to me. I'll post it. I'll send you the link. It's a win-win. So anyway, Don, pleasure meeting you. If you ever come down to the ATL, give me a ring. We'll talk tile. We'll grab some lunch and or breakfast or dinner or what have you. And look forward. And if I'm 50-50 on going to coverings, but I normally walk it. And you know, we promote, we help those guys over the years, you know, promoting it and getting people to attend it. And so maybe I'll see you, you know, on the show floor. But with that said, enjoy the rest of the week. Best of success up there in Tennessee in 2023. And everybody out there, Commercial Construction Coffee Talk Land, hey, listen, it's right in the beginning of the year, but before you know it, like I said, it's going to be the end of the year. So, you know, everybody out there, first of all, be safe on the construction site, stay hydrated, and have fun, smile, all right, and enjoy yourself. And it's going to be a great year. I'm sure it's going to have its dips and valleys like every other year. But in general, just hang in there, you know, put your blinders on, get your stuff done. And I know you have a bunch of renovation, new construction projects in the pipeline. And if you want to put tile in, give Don a ring. All right.
Here I am.
All right, Don, say goodbye from Clarksville.
Thank you. And goodbye from Clarksville.
And I'm David Corson. I'm going to sign off here from Sugar Hill, right below the Beaufort Dam on Lake Lanier, just above about 25, 30 miles outside of Atlanta. And we will see you next time on another episode of Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. I'll see you. Look forward to meeting you, Don. All right. And no fist bumps. I'm shaking your hand. Okay. All right. We'll see you later.